Hare Krishna. Welcome to the lockdown program with Krishna under the umbrella of Govardhan Hill. Today we are reading and discussing the most beautiful Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam.
Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam. Hey Govinda, hey Gopal, Keshava Madhava Dinadaya.
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 Dinadaya Prabhu, Dinadaya, Dinadaya Prabhu, Dinadaya.
Dinadayan Prabhu, Dinadayan, Dinadayan Prabhu, Dinadayan.
Hey Govinda, hey Gopal, Keshava Madhava Dinadaya.
Hey Govinda, hey Gopal, Keshava Madhava Dinadayan.
Hey Govinda, hey Gopal, Keshava Madhava Dinadaya.
Hey Govinda, hey Gopal, Keshava Madhava Dinadayan.
Dinadaya Prabhu, Dinadaya, Dinadaya Prabhu, Dinadaya.
Dinadayan Prabhu, Dinadayan, Dinadayan Prabhu, Dinadayan.
Dinadaya Prabhu, Dinadaya, Dinadaya Prabhu, Dinadaya.
Dinadayan Prabhu, Dinadayan, Dinadayan Prabhu, Dinadayan.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Govinda Hare Gopal Keshava Madhava Dinadaya Hare Govinda
Jai Gopal, Krishna Madhava, Dinodaya.
Dinadaya Prabhu Dinadaya Dinadaya Prabhu Dinadaya
Dinodaya Prabhu, Dinodaya. Dinodaya Prabhu, Dinodaya.
Dinodaya Prabhu Dinodaya Dinodaya Prabhu Dinodaya
Dinodaya Prabhu, Dinodaya. Dinodaya Prabhu, Dinodaya.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Rama
Hare Hare.
Haribo.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Thank you. Pandava Prabhu Bhagavati Mataji Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. What a beautiful Kirtan. Hare Krishna. So, welcome all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis to our lockdown program with Krishna and the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam under the umbrella of Govardhan Hill. Now, before we start with the Bhagavatam, I have here a little excerpt under the title, The Time Will Come. So Srila Prabhupada speaks about the time will come. I thought that was quite significant for us to know, so I want to share that with you. The time will come. Chant Hare Krishna and you become purified, more. The day will come when you find that you are completely pure from all material contamination and you become eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. And that makes a solution of all problems. This was from Srila Prabhupada's lecture in Boston in 1969. And another short quote. You see, this chance is there. Even with your karma, desires, you execute devotional service, make connection with the Supreme Lord. A time will come, you'll become akarma, no more. A time will come. That was in Los Angeles in 1972, and another one. This is called firm faith, said now because I'm engaged in Krishna consciousness business, so I must be able to face Krishna face to face, see Krishna face to face. Said I must have. So don't be disappointed. Go on with your Krishna consciousness activities. Time will come when you'll see Krishna, just like Kunti is seeing, face to face. There is no doubt about it. That is beautiful from Los Angeles in 1973. And one more. So this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is so powerful. You understand or you do not understand. If you go on chanting regularly, one day you will come to the platform. You will clearly understand what is the meaning of God. This is Hare Krishna movement. This is Krishna consciousness movement. Hare Krishna. I thought that was just some very nice, inspiring quotes. A time will come when all these things will take place. So I believe today we have the 15th sloka of the second chapter. It is going into the chat area right now. It is there. 15th shloka. Who would like to take that on? If anybody doesn't feel comfortable with the Sanskrit, just skip it. Otherwise, we'll have the 15th shloka. Who wants to read that?
I can try, Prabhuji.
Okay, go ahead, Rashmi.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yad anudhyasina yuktaha karma granthi nibandhanam chidanti ko vidastasya ko na kuryat katharatim. Translation: with sword in hand, intelligent men cut through the binding knots of reactionary work, karma, by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message? Purport: the contact of the spiritual spark with material elements creates a knot which must be cut if one wants to be liberated from the actions and reactions of fruitive work. Liberation means freedom from the cycle of reactionary work. This liberation automatically follows for one who constantly remembers the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead. This is because all the activities of the Supreme Lord, his Leela, are transcendental to the modes of the material energy. They are all attractive spiritual activities. and therefore constant association with the spiritual activities of the Supreme Lord gradually spiritualizes the conditioned soul and ultimately severs the knot of material bondage. Liberation from material bondage is therefore a byproduct of devotional service. Attainment of spiritual knowledge is not sufficient to ensure liberation. Such knowledge must be overcoated with devotional service, so that ultimately only the devotional service alone predominates. Then liberation is made possible. Even the reactionary work of the fruitive workers can lead one to liberation when it is overcoated with devotional service. Karma overcoated with devotional service is called karma yoga. Similarly, empirical knowledge overcoated with devotional service is called Gyan Yoga. But pure Bhakti Yoga is independent of such karma and Gyan because it alone can not only endow one with liberation from conditional life, but also award one the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Therefore, any sensible man who is above the average man with a poor fund of knowledge must constantly remember the personality of Godhead by hearing about him, glorifying him, remembering him, and by worshipping him always without cessation. That is the perfect way of devotional service. The Goswamis of Vrindavan, who were authorized by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to preach the Bhakti cult, rigidly followed this rule and made immense literatures of transcendental science for our benefit. They have chalked out ways for all classes of men in terms of the different castes and orders of life in pursuance of the teachings of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and similar other authoritative scriptures.
Thank you very much. What a beautiful purport. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Rashmi, for reading that to us. Anybody has any questions or comments? Shall we move on to the next shloka then? Okay, let's move on. Who wants to read the next shloka?
You can read the next shloka, Prabhu.
That is 16, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, the microphone is all yours, Samir.
Pranams, everybody. Hare Krishna. Shushrusva Sradahananasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Sayan Mahat Sevaya Pra Punya Trita Vananat. O twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. The conditioned life of a living being is caused by his revolting against the Lord. There are men called devas, or godly living beings, and there are men called asuras, or demons, who are against the authority of the Supreme Lord. In Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter, a vivid description of the asuras is given, in which it is said that the asuras are put into lower and lower states of ignorance of life after life, and so sink to the lower animal forms, and have no information about the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. These asuras are gradually rectified to God consciousness by the mercy of the Lord's liberated serviators in different countries, according to the supreme will. Such devotees of God are very confidential associates of the Lord, and when they come to save human society from the dangers of godlessness, they are known as powerful incarnations of the Lord. As sons of the Lord, as servants of the Lord or as associates of the Lord, but none of them falsely claim to be God themselves. This is blasphemy declared by the Asuras, and the demonic followers of such Asuras also accept pretenders as God or his incarnation. In the revealed scriptures, there is definite information of the incarnation of God. No one should be accepted as God or an incarnation of God unless he is confirmed by the revealed scriptures. The servants of God are to be respected as God by the devotees who actually want to go back to Godhead. Such servants of God are called Mahatmas or Tritas, and they preach according to the particular time and place. The servants of God urge people to become devotees of the Lord. They never tolerate being called God. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was God himself, according to the indication of the revealed scriptures, but he played the part of a devotee. People knew him to be God, addressed him as God, but he used to block his ears with his hands and chant the name of Lord Vishnu. He strongly protested against being called God, although undoubtedly he was God himself. The Lord behaved so to warn us against unscrupulous men who take pleasure in being addressed as God. The servants of God come to propagate God consciousness, and intelligent people should cooperate with them in every respect. By serving the servant of God, one can please God more than by directly serving the Lord. The Lord is more pleased when he sees that his servants are properly respected, because such servants risk everything for the service of the Lord, and so are very dear to the Lord. The Lord declares in the Bhagavad Gita 1869 that no one is dearer to him than one who risks everything to preach his glory. By serving the servants of the Lord, one gradually gets the quality of such servants, and thus one becomes qualified to hear the glories of God. The eagerness to hear about God is the first qualification of a devotee, eligible for entering the kingdom of God.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Zamir. Your connection is not that great. Usually it is very good, but it's okay. That was quite a bit of a purport. Anyone has any question? Samir?
Yeah, I'm just sorry about that. Yeah, I don't think the connection is here great, but I hope everybody heard that properly, because it's very, very nice. It's very nice indeed.
Yes, thank you. Yes, it could be heard, of course. It was just, okay, Pandava Prabhu or Bhagavati Mataji.
Yes, this is a really brilliant purport of Srila Prabhupada. But what I really wanted to say also is that I'm still in awe in overall in the message given by Prabhupada. What I'm trying to say is that I'm coming from a Catholic tradition, so I could say I can appreciate now over the years, or the way how I was brought up, and And of course, at that time when I was a kid, I could not fully understand the meaning of all this, but it's a reflection of whatever Prabhupada writes here, that the sons of God, they come and preach the way of respecting God, and so eventually souls are getting prepared for the real for the real cake, which is hearing the glories of the Lord. And my amazement is that again, being being raised in that culture, which now, I mean, now over the years, of course, I understand that the meaning is said to be humble, to be receptive, to listen to the elders, and in case of spiritual, of course, heritage. And as this verse suggests, then eventually will be ready to have the taste for the glories of the Lord. And the surprising thing is that all these believers, they don't know exactly who is that Lord. And now, because of Sri Chaitanya's movement, the real nectar in the form of Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is coming. And so the nectar of the glories of the Lord are there on the table. And who is qualified, or who can really listen to those and have taste for it? And we may find that it's really hard to find those people, because everyone is oriented about family, work, and other engagements. But as soon as we try to say about Krishna, people are not so interested. So it means that, of course, in general, without any judgment, we can assume that they somehow have not used their time in the past to grow up to that level of relishing topics of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So that's my kind of personal realization.
Thank you very much. Beautiful. That reminds me, also you just spoke about you coming from a Catholic family. I also came from a Catholic family, and at an young age, we had to study the catechism. Catechismus in Germany, I don't know, it's English. And it just gave us some basic dogma of Christianity in very short form. Who is God? But there was no understanding. I didn't understand nothing of all of that. But a bit later, I was attracted by the service in the church. And anybody who knows a Catholic service that is quite opulent, with frankincense and bells and pictures and deities, murtis, and this and singing, and in comparison to Protestant church, if you ever have been in, where it is just a focus, is just the scripture. There are no deities, no statues, no pictures. It is just plain, very, very plain, which never attracted me, ever. So, being then a little bit older, I became an altar boy And I loved it. It was very, very nice to be part of all the ceremonial things. But from the philosophical point, from the knowledge point, I didn't really understand much. The sentiment was there, but the knowledge was not there. And I could not find answers. I had questions later on when I grew up. I had a lot of questions about life. What's the purpose of life and all of that. I could not find it within my Catholic upbringing, nor has it ever any discussion. I don't remember any religious discussion with my parents. It was just ritual. And I was attracted by the ritual, yes. But answers, no. So only then through lots of searching and years of reading volumes and volumes of books and coming a little bit closer to the topic, even to Gyan, a little bit closer. And then Bhagavad Gita comes into my life. And then suddenly all answers are there. So I'm sure anyone from an Indian background has an equivalent experience. People growing up in Indian families and they're following all sorts of rituals and going to the temple and making the circles with a ghee lamp, but the real understanding of who is God, what is God, that is not that easy to come by. Okay, anyone has any questions? Any questions to that? Or comments, not just questions. Any comments or questions to that shloka? No, I have a question. Why is Srila Prabhupada writes, the servants of God are to be respected as God? How is that shown? I mean, any Westerners who will hear a statement like that, the servants of God, would to respect an ordinary human being as God, they will not be able to understand that. So what does that mean? The servants of God are to be respected as God by the devotees. Samir?
I think, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So because they are here to actually spread the message of God, and also qualitatively they are one with God, but quantitatively they are not. So qualitatively they are one as God, but also because they are doing the work for God, they should be respected as God, because they are God's representative. But
Yes.
As it says as well, that they themselves obviously will not call themselves God, but they should be respected as God.
Do we have any example to make that point, a material example, to make that point a bit clearer?
Yeah, material example is the ocean, and then the cup of. Then there's a cup of ocean. So if you take a cup of the ocean, that is the ocean. But you can't say that's the ocean, but it is part of the ocean. So qualitatively, that's the ocean there. But quantitatively, it's not the full ocean. So the qualities are there, but quantitatively, they're not there.
Thank you, Samir. Pandava Prabhu, Bhagavati Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I just was thinking about the comparison to, first of all, it was said here that, because you said that if somebody will hear such statement, it might mean that Srila Prabhupada is saying that devotee is equal to God, but it was this small word as. They should be respected as God himself, and this etiquette we have also in material world. Is even nowadays, if the president of some country is sending the representative, like minister or prime minister or whoever, we understand that we should respect this person as on the same level as the head of the state. And I was a tourist guide, so sometimes I was leading the official representatives of some countries, and everybody knew that respect should be given to them because they were representing the particular country. And in the opposite, if somebody was doing something stupid in front of them or neglecting them, it was understood as kind of a offense to the state. So this is the same. Lord Jesus Christ or many Vaishnava devotees, or also guru, like process of worshipping of guru is on this is the same. The guru is a representative of Krishna, so we should respect him and serve him as the same as Krishna himself. Sorry, like this.
Thank you very much, Bhagavati Mataji. That was a beautiful example. Huh? If an ambassador of a country is insulted, you insult the country, you insult the people of the country. And yes, beautiful example you gave there. Yes, and I just want to mention one more point. When we're doing the Guru Puja, maybe not everybody knows that, when we do to Srila Prabhupada, the Guru Puja, then we offer incense, we offer lamp, we offer water, we offer a handkerchief, we offer flowers, chamara, peacock, exactly the same procedure which we offer to the deity. So the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, in this example, is respected in exactly the same way.
Prabhu?
Yes.
If you don't mind, I can read a really small section of Chaitanya Bhagavata. We are reading right now a section where Lord Chaitanya was revealing some confidential topics to Murari Gupta, and this is just only small section that confirms exactly the purport and all the verse. So at some moment, Lord Chaitanya said to Murari Gupta like this. So this is quote: "Truly, I declare to you that I, the Supreme Lord, my dear servitors and their servants, are all manifestations of the absolute truth. My transcendental abode and activities are the absolute reality. Anyone denying their existence and variety inflicts countless wounds upon my body. So this was spoken by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How, of course, there are many other instances when he confirms how his devotees are so dear to him. So no wonder why anyone who is really a pure devotee who teaches science of Krishna is very dear to him.
Thank you very much, Pandava Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Yes, absolutely. What a beautiful quote. Thank you. Anyone else has a question or a comment? If not, we can move on to Shloka 17. Who wants to read 17? Who wants to read Shloka 17? Or you want to say something? Okay, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Me? Oh, no.
Yes?
Me? Hare Krishna, yes?
No, I think you want to say something, isn't it? Because your hand is up.
No, okay. Could I can read if you don't mind.
Oh, right, okay. Go ahead,
Yeah,
17. Yes.
One more. Okay. So, Shrinvantam Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantastos Hyabadzani Vidunoti Suhit Satam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul, in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Purport. Messages of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna are non-different from him. Whenever, therefore, offenseless hearing and glorification of God are undertaken, it is to be understood that Lord Krishna is present there in the form of transcendental sound, which is as powerful as the Lord personally. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his Shikshashtakam, declares clearly that the holy name of the Lord has all the potencies of the Lord, and that he has endowed his innumerable names with the same potency. There is no rigid fixture of time, and anyone can chant the holy name with attention and reverence at his convenience. The Lord is so kind to us that he can be present before us personally in the form of transcendental sound, but unfortunately we have no taste for hearing and glorifying the Lord's name and activities. We have already discussed developing a taste for hearing and chanting the holy sound. It is done through the medium of service to the pure devotee of the Lord. The Lord is reciprocally respondent to his devotees. When he sees that a devotee is completely sincere in getting admittance to the transcendental service of the Lord, and has thus become eager to hear about him, the Lord acts from within the devotee in such a way that the devotee may easily go back to him. The Lord is more anxious to take us back into his kingdom than we can desire. Most of us do not desire at all to go back to Godhead. Only a very few men want to go back to Godhead. But anyone who desires to go back to Godhead, Sri Krishna helps in all respects. One cannot enter into the kingdom of God unless one is perfectly cleared of all sins. The material sins are products of our desires, to lord it over material nature. It is very difficult to get rid of such desires. Women and wealth are very difficult problems for the devotee making progress on the path back to Godhead. Many stalwarts in the devotional line fell victim to these allurements and thus retreated from the path of liberation. But when one is helped by the Lord Himself, the whole process becomes as easy as anything by the divine grace of the Lord. To become restless in the contact of women and wealth is not an astonishment, because every living being is associated with such things from remote time, practically immemorial, and it takes time to recover from this foreign nature. But if one is engaged in hearing the glories of the Lord, gradually he realizes his real position. By the grace of God, such a devotee gets sufficient strength to defend himself from the state of disturbances, and gradually all disturbing elements are eliminated from his mind.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. What a beautiful purport again, with loads of points. What comes to mind when we read the whole process becomes as easy as anything by the divine grace of the Lord? Anything comes to mind to anyone?
No, I was thinking about the Krishna is as good as his holy name is as good as Krishna. So this is emphasized by Srila Prabhupada at the beginning of the purport, that Krishna is coming to us in the form of the holy name. And then the next quite interesting point is that practically nobody wants to go back to Godhead. And Krishna is taking us anyway and helping us to get rid of material desires. And here, of course, it's the example of women and wealth. So about wealth, I think we can have sometimes practical experience that having many things is kind of obstacle to the material path. Spiritual advancement. And as having a body of a woman, I also wanted to say that, in general, women are, or association with women might be an obstacle. But if you have a contact with a woman who is trying at least to be a devotee of the Lord, it might be very inspiring and it is helpful on the path of the spiritual advancement.
I have a question, and maybe I can try to switch a little bit the type of the question.
Okay, go ahead, and then Rashmi and Samir want to say something.
Let's say this would be a question as an advocate of the devil. Looks like in this, at the end of this purport, Prabhupada rather focuses on the advancement of a male devotees than female, because like Bhagavatam mentioned, wealth and women are given here as an example of the obstacle. And so maybe somebody could comment on that, because it looks like this, kind of suggests that male devotees are more in favor than the other sex.
Okay, thank you, Pandava Prabhu. Samir, are you wanting to answer this question or related question? I think it was first Rashmi. Your microphone was off. You don't have the hand raising feature yet. Maybe if you could update your Skype, that would be great, because I haven't actually seen your microphone was off. So Rashmi, you want to say something?
I thought what Prabhuji was asking, Pandav Prabhu was asking, I thought that verse, what Prabhupada was writing, it meant that the male people, the males, for them taking to devotional service is a problem because they are more attracted by wealth and women. Women generally, because of their nature, they are more simple hearted as compared to males. So women take to devotional service easier because they will not start applying their logic. They will listen to what they are being told. I thought women, that is what the purport is trying to say. It's not trying to distinguish between, give more importance to males. That's what I understood.
Thank you, Rashmi. Of course, that is a very valid and good point, but of course it means also what is the feminine attraction for a man that works opposite as well. That is a masculine attraction for a woman. But these energies are very, very, very strong. And if someone can actually get rid at any stage of his life of the attraction to the opposite sex, he's a liberated person. Srila Prabhupada saying like that. If someone has conquered the sex desire, he is on the liberated platform. So, yes, that was a very valid comment to say. Samir, you want to say something to that?
Yes, I was going to say, that it's opposite as well, as you said, Prabhu, just now. And also, I did read a few days ago that particular answer. Somebody asked Prabhupada, but it's not very clear in my mind, even though I read it a few days ago. But the gist of it was Prabhupada said that if even the ladies, if they are on the devotional path, then they are just as good as the men. So Prabhupada emphasizes that it's not it's neither a man or women. It's if you're on the devotional path, then that's good enough. And to answer your first question as well, I think maybe you were asking about, crossing this ocean of the material birth and death. It becomes easiest as the footprint of a calf filled with water, or a deer or a calf. So that was the answer to that question as well.
This was the verse I was looking for. Thank you, Samir. You can read my mind, or you can read Shastra, or you can remember Shastra. Yes, it is as easy as stepping over water. To cross a material ocean is as easy as stepping over a calf's footprint filled with water. The material ocean shrinks to that degree if someone has attraction for the messages of the Lord.
Prabhuji, I have something which I read today about this same thing, about this verse. So in this verse, Mataji read that Krishna has put his full energy, full potency in his name, his pastimes and the dham. So there are many mantras, there are many names for Krishna, and there are many mantras as well. So initially in the scriptures, So this is the followers of Srila Prabhupada, they don't very much say it, but one of the because it is not specifically mentioned by Prabhupada, but they admit that in the northern part of India, the northern part of India, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they say that in the scriptures, the Maha Mantra was Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So the Ram came first and the Krishna followed. That's what our scriptures, some of the scriptures mention. And the names of the scriptures was also mentioned. And this is, I'm just telling you what I read in the Back to Godhead magazine, just during this week. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he inverted this because when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the Brahmins and other people were objecting to anybody and everybody saying this mantra, because the mantra, when it starts with Hare Ram, in the Vedas or wherever this is mentioned, those people have to be in a certain position, certain qualifications have to be there. So certain like Brahminical values or whatever, some qualifications have to be there to be able to recite that mantra. And it is an offense otherwise to that Veda where it is mentioned to allow the mantra to be chanted otherwise by anybody and everybody. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not want to go against the Veda, because that's what the Veda is saying, that we must not chant it. Anybody and everybody cannot chant it. So he inverted the mantra. So the value of the words was still there. Krishna's potency was still there in those words. But Hare Krishna came first and Hare Ram followed later. And then Mahaprabhu said that now anybody can chant it, because the words have still got the same potency. But now we are not offending the Vedas, because we have inverted what the mantra. We have made Krishna first and Ram second.
Thank you. That was a beautiful comment. I was looking for that reference some session 1-2 weeks before. And I could not remember it, and you just brought it up. Yes, isn't Lord Chaitanya clever? He is so clever to get around, because he didn't want to offend the smarta Brahmins. Yes, said Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Said one needs Brahminical qualifications. So he just turned the mantra around and made it available for everyone. So that's a historical context. Very nice, very nice. I have one more question. If someone can remember a Bhagavad Gita verse when Srila Prabhupada writes, only a very few men want to go back to Godhead. That's a fact. Only very few are interested in Krishna consciousness. What's a Bhagavad Gita reference? Who can say?
Manushyanam sahasrashu.
Absolutely. Amongst thousands of men. We had spoken about that verse many times. So that links directly. Anyone has any further questions or comments? Or shall we move on? Okay, if there are no further comments or questions, we got a lot out of this one shloka. Thank you. Very wonderful contributions by different devotees. So let's go to 18. Who wants to take on text 18?
Yes, Prabhupada, I will read it.
Thank you, Amit. The microphone is yours.
Nasta prasave abhutrasu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhakti bhavati nastiki. Translation. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Purport. Here is the remedy for eliminating all inauspicious things within the heart, which are considered to be the obstacles in the path of self-realization. The remedy is the association of the Bhagavatas. There are two types of Bhagavatas, namely the book Bhagavata and the devotee Bhagavata. Both the Bhagavatas are competent remedies, and both of them or either of them can be good enough to eliminate the obstacle. A devotee Bhagavata is good as the book Bhagavata, because the devotee Bhagavata leads his life in terms of the book Bhagavata, and the book Bhagavata is full of information about the personality of Godhead and his pure devotees who are Bhagavatas. Bhagavata book and person are identical. Devotee Bhagavata is a direct representative of Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. So by pleasing the devotee Bhagavata, one can receive the benefits of the book Bhagavata. Human reason fails to understand by serving the devotee Bhagavata or the book Bhagavata, one gets gradual promotion on the path of devotion. But actually these are facts explained by Srila Naradeva, who happened to be the maidservant's son in his previous life. The maidservant was engaged in the menial services of the sages, and thus he also came into contact with them. And simply by associating with them and accepting the remnants of foodstuff left by the sages, the son of the maidservant got the chance to become the great devotee and personality Srila Narada Deva. They are the miraculous efforts of the association of Bhagavatas, and to understand these effects practically, it should be noted that by such sincere association of the Bhagavatas, one is sure to receive transcendental knowledge very easily, with the result that he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. The more progress is made in devotional services under the guidance of the Bhagavatas, the more one fixed in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The message of the book Bhagavata therefore have to be received by the devotee Bhagavata, and the combination of these two Bhagavatas will help the neophyte devotee to make progress on and on.
Thank you, Amit. Very interesting purport, very interesting text. Anyone has any comment or question? Okay, I have a short comment where Srila Prabhupada said, these are the miraculous effects of the association of Bhagavatas. There is a nice story where a man in a challenging spirit said to Srila Prabhupada, so all the yogis have shown some miracles. What is your miracle? Can you show some miracles? Because the yogis can show a little bit of their mystic powers. So he asked, challenging Srila Prabhupada, what are your miracles? And Srila Prabhupada pointed to his devotees, that was in India, who came with him to India. And he said, these are my miracles. And it is a miracle to change the heart of a Westerner, not only Westerner, but especially Westerner, and that's one addicted to all the different aspects of sinful life, which is normal in Western society. Nowadays, it's just everywhere, west, east, north, south. But to change the heart of someone to take to Krishna consciousness, that is more than a miracle. It's an absolute miracle. So here, that is Srila Prabhupada's miracles. And earlier on, Srila Prabhupada writes a devotee Bhagavata is as good as the book Bhagavata, because the devotee Bhagavata leads his life in terms of the book Bhagavata. I just thought that would be just to emphasize. We have mentioned that many times. Let's say Bhagavad Gita, but also that includes also Bhagavatam and so on. One needs to live Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is not a book just for the intellect to read or be an armchair philosopher. Bhagavad Gita is a practical guide to live one's life according to Bhagavad Gita. This was not known before Srila Prabhupada appeared in New York, before Srila Prabhupada came to the West. Bhagavad Gita was known for 200 years, but nobody took it in a way that one can actually live Bhagavad Gita. First of all, these interpretations, they were all impersonal interpretation. So if one reads the impersonal interpretation, there is no way one can live Bhagavad Gita. There's no way one cannot live Bhagavad Gita if one has an impersonal understanding. How are you going to live? How are you going to merge? Actually, maybe that's not entirely correct. By mistake, I came on YouTube to some lady, impersonalist, very powerful. She was preaching, and she was putting forward, and I could already smell that at the very beginning, but she put forward chanting Om. Chant is the impersonalists, they chant Om. Nothing against Om. Om is a sound vibration of the Lord, sound incarnation of the Lord, but the impersonalists will not chant Hare Krishna mantra. They chant Om. So she said, chant Om, breathe out, and say nothing. Give it a pause. Again, Om, vibrate, breathe out, nothing. And above the mind, which she correctly identified, is the intelligence. So intelligence can see the two things: sound vibration, silence. Sound vibration, silence. And then after some practice, some meditative practice of that, one just completely stops. And then she said, then the intelligence is bewildered and we're merging into the impersonal. So one has to there is no real practical way. It's just all intellectual gymnastics. And so I just thought it was nice to mention. One, Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is was the first time he gave a way of living Bhagavad Gita, not just intellectually, but living it practically. Okay. Anyone has anything else to contribute? If not, we'll move on to Shloka 19. Who volunteers for Shloka 19? Maybe someone who hasn't read yet.
Prabhuji, I can read it. Tada rajas tamo bhava kamalobdayas chaye cheta etayar anavidham sthitam satve prasadati. Translation: as soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy. Srila Prabhupada's purport: a living being in his normal constitutional position is fully satisfied in spiritual bliss. This state of existence is called Brahma-bhut or Atmanand, or the state of self-satisfaction. This self-satisfaction is not like the satisfaction of the inactive fool.
The inactive fool is in the state of foolish ignorance, whereas the self-satisfied Atmanandi is transcendental to the material state of existence. This stage of perfection is attained as soon as one is fixed in irrevocable devotional service. Devotional service is not inactivity, but the unalloyed activity of the soul. The soul's activity becomes adulterated in contact with matter, and as such, the diseased activities are expressed in the form of lust, desire, hankering, inactivity, foolishness, and sleep. The effect of devotional service becomes manifest by complete elimination of these effects of passion and ignorance. The devotee is fixed at once in the mode of goodness, and he makes further progress to rise to the position of Vasudeva, or the state of unmixed sattva or Suddha sattva. Only in the Suddha sattva state can one always see Krishna face to face by dint of pure affection for the Lord. A devotee is always in the mode of unalloyed goodness, therefore he harms no one. But the non-devotee, however educated he may be, is always harmful. A devotee is neither foolish nor passionate. The harmful, foolish, and passionate cannot be devotees of the Lord. However, they may advertise themselves as devotees of outward dress. A devotee is always qualified with all the good qualities of God. Quantitatively, such qualifications may be different, but qualitatively, both the Lord and his devotee are one and the same. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Nalini Mataji. What
Thank
a
you,
beautiful
Prabhuji.
reading.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Anyone has any comments or question? A term comes to mind when Srila Prabhupada talks. I'm going backwards. I just highlighted a few points here. Someone may, however, they may advertise themselves as devotees by outward dress. What comes to mind? If someone is just pretending to be a devotee by dress, is a saying, Tilak and dhoti does not make a devotee. So if someone is, how is that person called? If someone is just pretending outwardly by dress, by kuntimala, but the heart is not there. Anyone? Mityachara, a pretender. And in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says also, someone is just fooling himself, pretending outward by dress, but inwardly one is fully occupied on sense gratification. It just makes a show. Sometimes we say show bottle devotee. All these things do exist. So just by outward dress. And what another highlight here. This stage of existence is called Brahma Bhuta. What's the verse? Bhagavad Gita. Anyone? Bhagavad Gita scholars. Famous verse we have mentioned many times.
Is it the one which says Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na Sochati na Kanchati? Is it that one?
Is that one? What does it mean? Take your Hindi now. Let's put your Hindi to work.
The Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma is the self-satisfied soul. Na Sochati na Kanchati is the one who does not lament or hanker.
My God, what just by a little bit of Hindi, not a little bit, a lot of Hindi, one can understand the Sanskrit. Prasanatma, fully joyful. But I mean, you identified Shochati, Kangshati, na, not. I mean, just let's learn some Hindi and we can understand the Sanskrit. That's as simple as that. Thank you, Rashmi. That's a verse. That's an important verse, of course. We have many times spoken about it. So I have no more notes here during the reading. Any further comments or questions?
Just a small comment. As probably you know that this verse and a few others were included by Srila Prabhupada in his poem when he was on his journey on Jaladuta to America. So, because this verse and a few others, they describe how somebody comes to that platform, Brahma Bhuta, when someone is ready for establishing a devotional service. That's just a small connection.
Thank you very much, Pandava Prabhu. Yes, that is such an important verse. Samir.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. I've got two things really. First thing is that saying that, our normal constitutional position is fully satisfied in spiritual bliss. So, it's not really, we cannot compare it to anything which is material. So, it's very important. I feel that, we are reading this and it's beautiful, and we're working, reading it together with devotees is fantastic. But I also urge everyone, please, if you get time to read it on your own as well, just to digest it, because it's so beautiful and it's so important that we think about it, not just just skip over it, because what we're doing here is so good as well. It's fantastic. But also on top of that, if we can read it, we take some time and read, because what Prabhupada has done here for us, the purports are just amazing. And if we try and digest it, it can change our lives.
Thank you, Samir. Yes, absolutely. That you pointed out that part of the purport, I also marked that. I made a mental note of that as well, because that was striking me too. Said we are already fully satisfied. We are already fully satisfied. Everybody looks for satisfaction. Everybody looks for happiness, externally, outside. But it's already within us. That's our normal condition. People feel so miserable, most people. And if they don't feel miserable, they feel good because of material external circumstances. Either they are intoxicated or drunk, or are intoxicated by their material wealth. Or perhaps they're in the mode of goodness, which is still material mode. There it was mentioned also Shuddha Sattva, that is beyond the goodness, that is a pure goodness only found in the spiritual world. There is no Shuddha Sattva here. That's a spiritual mode of goodness, pure goodness. Because here goodness is always, even goodness, what to speak of the other modes, they're always tinged with something else. So the goodness is tinged with a little bit of passion, perhaps even a bit of ignorance. But pure goodness is untinged, pure, unalloyed, pure, not mixed with anything. So that is an answer to the people in general. why are you looking for satisfaction outside? And there are so many advertising satisfaction and happiness through all kind of different processes. But here is a perfect process. Krishna consciousness, reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, studying, to remove that covering, and our true nature comes out. Anything else? Comments, questions? If not, let's move on to text 20. Who want to read text 20?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you.
Take me a few minutes to get back to the screen.
Yes, no problem. Microphone is yours.
18.
And this is another very famous, all these verses, recognize them immediately. And Srila Prabhupada is constantly quoting them. This is also one of the important verses of the Bhagavatam.
Right, Jay. Hare Krishna. Evam prasana manaso bhagavat bhakti yogata bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.3, it is said that out of many thousands of ordinary men, one fortunate man endeavors for perfection in life. Mostly men are conducted by the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus they are engaged always in lust, desire, hankerings, ignorance, and sleep. Out of many such man-like animals, there is actually a man who knows the responsibility of human life and thus tries to make life perfect by following the prescribed duties. And out of many thousands of such persons who have thus attained success in human life, one may know scientifically about the personality of Godhead Krishna. In the same Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 55, it is also said that scientific knowledge of Sri Krishna is understood only by the process of devotional service, bhakti yoga. The very same thing is confirmed herein in the above words. No ordinary man, or even one who has attained success in human life, can know scientifically or perfectly the personality of Godhead. Perfection of human life is attained when one can understand that he is not the product of matter, but is in fact spirit. And as soon as one understands that he has nothing to do with matter, he at once ceases his material hankerings and becomes enlivened as a spiritual being. This attainment of success is possible when one is above the modes of passion and ignorance, or in other words, when one is actually a Brahmana by qualification. A Brahmana is the symbol of Sattva Guna, or the mode of goodness, and others who are not in the mode of goodness are either Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, or less than the Shudras. The Brahmanical stage is the highest stage of human life because of its good qualities. So one cannot be a devotee unless one at least qualifies as a Brahmana. The devotee is already a Brahmana by action, but that is not the end of it. As referred to above, such a Brahmana has to become a Vaishnava, in fact, to be actually in the transcendental stage. A pure Vaishnava is a liberated soul and is transcendental even to the position of a Brahmana. In the material stage, even a Brahmana is also a conditioned soul, because although in the Brahmanical stage, the conception of Brahman or transcendence is realized, scientific knowledge of the Supreme Lord is lacking. One has to surpass the Brahmanical stage and reach the Vasudeva stage to understand the personality of Godhead Krishna. The science of the personality of Godhead is the subject matter for study by the postgraduate students in the spiritual line. Foolish men or men with a poor fund of knowledge do not understand the Supreme Lord, and they interpret Krishna according to their respective whims. The fact is, however, that one cannot understand the science of the personality of Godhead unless one is freed from the contamination of the material modes, even up to the stage of a Brahmana. So when a qualified Brahmana factually becomes a Vaishnava, in the enlivened state of liberation, he can know what is the actual personality, actually the personality of Godhead. Jay.
Thank you, Vaishana Mataji. Any comments on this another wonderful purport? Loads of points, loads. Anyone has any comments or questions? Okay, may I add here, again from back to front, when a qualified Brahmana factually becomes a Vaishnava in the enlivened state of liberation, he can know what is actually the personality of Godhead. Enlivened stage of liberation. To mind comes liberation, mukti, the impersonal liberation. That is not the enlivened stage of liberation. And as we have mentioned before, on the liberated stage, once we are free from the material modes of nature, once we are on the Brahma Buddha stage, then that is a beginning point of devotional service. Right now we offer devotional service mixed with karma and jnana, and that will help us to progress, of course. But that once we in the liberated stage, in the Brahma Buddha stage, then for the liberated soul, it's not the end. So business accomplished. No, it's a beginning. Because then from that liberated stage, we can offer Krishna some very meaningful and pleasing devotional service because we don't ask anything in return. It's just pure service, pure out of love for him in the liberated stage. Then devotional service, pure devotional service, I should say, really starts. So that is an important point here. And it mentions a bit earlier the science of the personality of Godhead is a subject matter for study by the postgraduate students in the spiritual line. So the postgraduate study is, of course, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, while Bhagavad Gita is ABC, and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is postgraduate study. So the more advanced student will study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And earlier on, towards the beginning, one may know scientifically about the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. In the same Bhagavad Gita 18:15-5, it is also that scientific knowledge of Sri Krishna is understood only by the process of devotional service. What's that verse, 18:55? Who can find it? Anyone? Bhagavad Gita 18:55? Maybe someone can read it. Anyone has a Bhagavad Gita handy?
Yes, Prabhuji, I've got it in front of me. 1855. Yeah. It says, Bhaktyamam abhignati yavan yas jasmi tatvahata tato mam tatvavato gnanvata visate tad anantaram. That was difficult to read. But yeah.
Translation.
One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by the devotional service. And one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Yes, that's beautiful verse of Bhagavad Gita. Bhaktyamam apichananti. And Dharm has just posted that in our chat area. So you can always follow it up. Important Bhagavad Gita verse.
Yeah, perfect.
There is one more reference. Just at the beginning of the purport, in the Bhagavad Gita 7.3, it is said that out of many thousands of ordinary men, we just mentioned that from 15 minutes earlier, 7.3. What's that verse? Anyone remembers? What is Srila Prabhupada talking about? Vakshana Mataji, your microphone is on. You want to say something?
Oh, no, there was just one thing I wanted to mention. It says it surpasses the Brahmanical stage and it comes to the Vasudevaya stage. That was interesting. I wondered if you could explain that, the Vasudevaya stage. That comes after the Brahmanical.
Yes, so what's a Vasudev stage? Who can say?
And obviously it's saying it's the higher stage and then only they can realize Lord Shri Krishna, something to that effect.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Who can explain what's a Vasudev stage? Anyone of learned devotees here? Vasudev stage. Higher than the Brahminical stage. Samir?
I think you covered it earlier, and you remember where it's the Vasudev stage, where it's not tinged with anything else but pure devotional service.
Yes, absolutely. Same thing. Same thing. Shuddha Sattva, that's a Vasudev stage. Pure Krishna consciousness. These basic principles are there, and there may be different names to it. Vasudev consciousness, Vasudev stage. Brahminical is only the mode of goodness. That's the highest amongst the modes. But that is not the perfection. One has to go further and come to Shuddha Sattva, pure goodness. Vasudev stage. That's what it is. Thank you, Samir. What was that Bhagavad Gita verse again? 7.3?
Amongst thousands of persons, hardly one strives for perfection. And amongst those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth.
Yes, 7.3. Manushyanam Sahasreshu. Important Bhagavad Gita verse. We have covered that. So, any other question? I don't have any more notes here. 20. That's shloka number 20. Anyone has any comment or question? Perhaps it's time to do a bit of kirtan, or shall we take one more verse? We could take one more verse. 21. Quite a bit of a purport. No, just the same as before. Let's do one more verse. Text 21. Who wants to do?
Let's do it if you want.
Okay.
21, yeah. Vidyate hridaya grantes, chidyante sarva samsaya, visyanti jasya karmani, drista evat manishvare. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced, and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as the master. Attaining scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead means seeing one's own self simultaneously. As far as the identity of the living being as spirit self is concerned, there are a number of speculations and misgivings. The materialist does not believe in the existence of the spirit self and empiric philosophers believe in the impersonal feature of the Holy Spirit without individuality of the living beings. But the transcendentalists affirm that the soul and the supersoul are two different identities, qualitatively and quantitatively different. There are many other theories, but all these different speculations are at once cleared off as soon as Sri Krishna is realized in truth by the process of Bhakti Yoga. Sri Krishna is like the sun, and the materialistic speculations about the absolute truth are like the darkest midnight. As soon as Krishna, sun, is arisen within one's heart, the darkness of materialistic speculations about the absolute truth and the living beings is at once cleared off. In the presence of the sun, the darkness cannot stand, and the relative truths that were hidden within the dense darkness of ignorance become clearly manifested by the mercy of Krishna, who is residing in everyone's heart as the Supersoul. In Bhagavad Gita 10:11, the Lord says that in order to show special favor to his pure devotees, he personally eradicates the dense darkness of all misgivings by switching on the light of pure knowledge within the heart of a devotee. Therefore, because of personality of Godhead's taking charge of illuminating the heart of his devotee, certainly a devotee engaged in his service in transcendental love cannot remain in darkness. He comes to know everything of the absolute and the relative truths. Devotee cannot remain in darkness, and because the devotee is enlightened by the personality of Godhead, his knowledge is certainly perfect. This is not the case for those who speculate on the absolute truth by dint of their own limited power of approach. Perfect knowledge is called parampara, or deductive knowledge coming down from the authority to the submissive oral receiver, who is bona fide by service and surrender. One cannot challenge the authority of the Supreme and know him also at the same time. He reserves the right of not being exposed to such a challenging spirit of an insignificant spark of the whole, a spark subjected to the control of illusory energy. Devotees are submissive, and therefore the transcendental knowledge descends from the personality of Godhead to Brahma, and from Brahma to his sons and disciples in succession. This process is helped by the Supersoul within such devotees. That is perfect way of learning transcendental knowledge. This enlightenment perfectly enables the devotee to distinguish spirit from matter, because the knot of spirit and matter is untied by the Lord. This knot is called ahankar, and this falsely obliges a living being to become identified with matter. As soon as this knot is loosened, therefore, all the clouds of doubt are at once cleared off. One sees his master and fully engages himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, making a full termination of the chain of fruitive action. In material existence, a living being creates his own chain of fruitive work and enjoys the good and bad effects of those actions life after life. But as soon as he engages himself in loving service of the Lord, he at once becomes free from the chain of karma. His actions no longer create any reaction.
Thank you, Samir. Hare Krishna. One purpose is more beautiful than the next. There's so much in that. Absolutely, absolutely beautiful. Who would not want to break the chain of karma? Everybody's interested in breaking the chain of karma, especially the bad karma. So here is a recipe of doing just that. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, it's so nice. Just echo what you're saying, Prabhu. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Please try and read it again and again if you can.
Prabhuji, I've just remembered, you know the verse which we did where you said, not you said, Prabhupada said in his commentary that the Krishna's representative is Krishna himself. So I just remembered the Matajis whose class I attend, she was explaining the meaning of the Guru prayers. You know the Guru, you all must be knowing the Guru prayers. You and
Guru
Vasati
Ashtakam.
Gurur Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Gurur Deva Maheshwara.
No, we don't chant that.
No?
That's a Hindi. Hindu prayer.
She was explaining the meaning of that. It is the prayer is Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Deva Maheshwara. So the Guru is Brahma, the Guru is Vishnu, and the Guru is Shiva. The Shiva is the destroyer. So the meaning of so what is the meaning of that? The Guru is Brahma, because he is actually creating us. He's actually giving birth to a human. When we surrender to a Guru, we come under his shelter. We are actually becoming human beings. We are not actually human beings before that. We are actually becoming human once we come under the shelter of a pure devotee. And then Guru Vishnu means Vishnu is the maintainer of the universe. So the Guru maintains this light of what did she say, bhakti inside us. She maintains it. He maintains it. And then Shiva is the destroyer. So the Guru destroys the nescience with the torch of enlightenment. So that is why Guru, or the true representative, is to be revered as God himself.
Thank you, Rashmi.
I just remembered that. So
whose class was that?
we're reading Bhagavatam class. I'm doing with Siddhi Lalsa Mataji. We are in Canto 4, and I don't know why she was explaining. She was going through all the Guru, whatever. You know, you and Vasanti Mataji chant those whole prayers. Vasanti Mataji usually chants it before she, at the end or at the beginning, when she does Kirtan. So she was explaining the meaning of she said it is important to understand meaning of what you're chanting. And then suddenly she started telling us about Guru. And she was explained all that, and then she explained this as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes. Let's do a little bit of Kirtan. We could talk about this verse more. And I think this verse, Srila Prabhupada's purport, would deserve at least 10 minutes more scrutinizing, but we're running out of time. So we want to do a little bit of some Kirtan to round off the evening. Hare Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Vedanta Swamin Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyapishatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gattata Shivasari Gaura Bhaktarinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gattata Shivasari Gaura Bhaktarinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gattata Shivasari Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gaura Nitai 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 Jaya Nitai Sachisundara Nitai Sachisundara Nitai Sachisundara Jaya Nitai Sachisundara Jaya Nitai Sachisundara Nitai Sachisundara Nitai Sachisundara Jaya Nitai Sachisundara Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jai Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Gurudev Jai Jaya Gurudev Jaya Gurudev Vancha Kalpatarubhyasa Kripa Sindhu Vyaiva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhya Cha Kripa Sindhu Vyaiva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Anandapuri Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Let us offer our most respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnavas of Ceylon, who are just like desire trees, and you can fulfill the desires of everyone and who are full of compassion to the fallen and conditioned souls. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, that was our lockdown program for tonight, this Saturday. Thank you all for coming. All the wonderful Vaishnavas here. and Samir Prabhu, Rashmi Mataji, Bhagavati Mataji, Bandava Prabhu Jayanti Bai, Dharm, thank you for your recording, and Amit and Vaishnav Mataji, she left already, so thank you for coming and sharing this beautiful Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and your stories and realizations and your comments and your questions and all of that. And by engaging in this way with the Bhagavatam, at least twice a week, by hearing this message, as explained in the Bhagavatam itself, time will come. As Srila Prabhupada says, time will come, we'll see Krishna face to face. Time will come when all the dirty things are cleared from the heart. We have to be patient, but that time will come. Let's make this time in this lifetime. And then we go back home to Godhead. Hare Krishna. So here we stop, and we'll meet again on Wednesday. And we'll be more strict with the time on Wednesday. Saturday, 2 hours, 9 o'clock. It's okay. Wednesday, strictly 8:30. And if we go over 8:30, 1.5 hours, so please do speak up. If that should be forgotten, I'll try to remember, because we could just go on all night long, but that is not very realistic. So 8:30. And what we will also do, at least once a month, we will do again, some devotees in turn do a Bhagavad Gita class on the verse of their choice. So once a month we can do that. So that would be nice, because that's missing, that devotees can just speak for, and not longer than 20 minutes. 15-20 minutes will be just fine. Okay, here we stop. See you on Wednesday. Hare Krishna.